Well, introducing new technology into the classroom also means adopting some new attitudes. And I'm not talking about students, but for parents and teachers. At the 140 conference in Hutchinson, Kansas, I was able to visit with Kevin Honeycutt, a longtime educator and social media proponent. So Kevin, have not only our classrooms changed in terms of technology, but have our students changed as well?
There are studies that would tell you that they're wired fundamentally different than us, that they think different. I read one study that said that our kids can make 110 decisions per minute. Now, the only people who could think this fast from our generation were astronauts and fighter pilots. And we're teaching them wonk, 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 wonk. We call it ADD, but I think that they're wired different. They're wired for speed.
Yeah, so how do we approach it as educators?
It's tough. I think we have to use the technologies not just that are relevant to them, but the world's using right now. And there are times when it feels like education moves at glacial speed, that we change a little bit too slow for this exponentially exploding world of ours that's changing so fast. So I think good educators and educating systems are looking out there at industry and saying, what are they using? How do we simulate that? How do we let kids have a dress rehearsal for what they're going to do at Boeing or Cessna or Learjet? You know, how does the world work? Well, they teleconference. China makes the tail, Wichita makes the fuselage. It better fit together. How do we rehearse that? Well, there are teachers doing that across the hall in classrooms, Skyping from this class to that class and across the country. They're trying. There's no real system for this yet. There are crazies out there that say, we got to do this. We got to get our kids ready for that future.
So is better communication in the classroom, is it simply just skills training?
Some of that, but it's just skills, just training isn't enough. In a way, you've got to live there. Like if I tell you how to use Skype, okay, technically you could turn it on, but if you talk to your brother in Seattle, now you know Skype and you know why Skype. If you talk to your brother who's in Iraq, you understand how important it is to be able to see and hear at the same time. So I think when teachers start to do these things, they get it. They get that, yes, it's engaging, but it's also the way the world is starting to work now. So social networking, sounds crazy to say that word in education, but social networking is what our kids are doing. Whether we're mentoring it or not, they're doing it without us. So how do we do it in positive ways that gets these kids ready for successful futures?
So do you think the districts that have social network sites actually turned off are doing their students a big bit disservice?
That's a great question. Here's the tough part, okay? The law, CEPA, COPPA, HIPAA, E-rate, all tells us we have to filter all of that stuff. Okay, we'll get in trouble if we try not to. So here we are with a border control fence, with guards on duty and bright lights, and we feel really good that we got everything locked down. But you want to get past the firewall and go to Facebook? Ask a fifth grader. He knows how to get past. So they're going over the wall anyway. So why don't we start taming the tool? Start with simple social networks that we have control of and teach behaviors. Behaviors. You know, when you have a crash, an airbag deploys. Right? You don't hit the steering wheel anymore. That happens in schools, right? So why be careful? There's a pillowy sort of end to anything that could go wrong. But the real world has sharp edges. So how do we rehearse relevant behaviors now while we still have them with us? And I don't mean open the floodgates, good grief, no. But how do we at least rehearse the kind of reality that happens in social networks? That might be that we've got a Blackboard site, but we use it more creatively, more engaging, not so wonk, 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 lists of things, you know what I mean? The back and forth interaction with our kids.
Are there lessons that parents can take away from this conversation?
You've got to be beside your kid. If you're going to let her get Facebook, Mom, learn Facebook. Parent beside her in a virtual place. You know, we say virtual and real. It's one world. We got to stop saying virtual and real, because the things you do in virtual affect you in the real world. It's one world now. So Mom and Dad, invited. You're invited. Teachers, you're invited to the digital playground. Our kids are already there.
So where's the best filter?
Between their ears. That's portable.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.